Welcome everyone, join us today as we pay tribute to Patty Donahue, known for her infectious charm, rebellious spirit and iconic sound behind the Waitresses. So let's dive in. Patricia Jean Donahue, born March 29, 1956, in Akron, Ohio, in the United States of America. She was zodiac sign Aries. Patty and her sister were raised by their mother Joan after their parents divorced when Patty was just 2 years old. Unlike fellow Akron native Chrissy Hind of the Pretenders, Patty grew up in a strict Catholic household. She attended St. Joseph Academy, an all-girls Catholic school in Cleveland, following in the footsteps of her mother and sister, and graduated in 1974. Her graduation picture was used on the cover of the first Waitresses LP, Wasn't Tomorrow Wonderful? Next, Patty started her studies at Ohio State University but had to drop out due to financial challenges. She later attempted to continue at Cleveland State University but left, feeling unfulfilled. Eventually, she earned her degree from Kent State University and, fittingly for her future in music, worked as a waitress during that time. Over 6 years, she worked at places like the Coliseum, Parisons, and the Brown Derby. Patty crossed paths with Chris Butler, a fellow student from Kent State University, who had been present at the infamous 1970 anti-war demonstration, along with future members of Devo. Butler, a member of the art rock band Tin Hui, had written a collection of songs that didn't fit the band's repertoire, including the personal and quirky, I Know What Boys Like. One day, while in a local bar at midday, Butler stood on a chair, tapped a beer bottle to get everyone's attention, and announced, I need a Chanteuse to coo a song. It's funny, stupid, cool and different. Anyone interested? From the back of the room, a voice responded, aha. It was Patty. Butler played every instrument on the track and brought in the newly recruited Patty to provide vocals under the name Patty Darling. She also lent her voice to another song called Astronauts. Butler credited the track to a fake band he called the Waitresses, inspired by a favorite t-shirt worn by a friend. The Waitresses released one single on the small local clone label, though Butler performed all vocals and instruments himself. Some of these early recordings eventually appeared on Stiff Records' The Akron compilation and Clones Bowling Balls from Hell samplers. After Tin Hui disbanded, Butler relocated to New York City and pitched I Know What Boys Like to an A&R representative he knew. This led to a deal with Island Polygram affiliate ZE Records, prompting Butler to quickly assemble a real band, despite telling the label that the group already existed back in Ohio. He reached out to Patty, who agreed to join him, and began forming the first Waitresses lineup with help from connections like former Tin Hui saxophonist Ralph Carney. The initial lineup included Patty on vocals, Butler, free jazz saxophonist Mars Williams, formerly Anthony Braxton's copyist, television drummer Billy Ficker, keyboardist and fellow Akron native Dan Clayman, bassist Dave Hofstra, and backing vocalist Ariel Warner, a friend of Patty's. The Waitresses made their live debut on New Year's Eve 1980 and spent the following year refining their sound and building a loyal fan base. In 1981, they contributed Christmas Rapping to a holiday compilation while working on their debut album, Wasn't Tomorrow Wonderful, which was released in 1982. Rolling Stone praised the album as wonderful, describing Patty's voice and imperfections only adding to its charm. During the album's recording, lineup changes began with Ariel Warner leaving the band due to stage fright, followed by bassist Dave Hofstra after the album's completion, replaced by Tracy Wormworth. In early 1982, their single, I Know What Boys Like, became a cult hit, peaking at number 62 in the US, number 14 in Australia, and gaining recognition in the UK. The success of the song led to the band performing the theme song for the sitcom Square Pegs, starring a young Sarah Jessica Parker. The track was featured on their EP, I Could Rule the World If I Could Only Get the Parts, which also included Christmas Rapping, later famously covered by the Spice Girls. During the recording of their second album, tensions within the band boiled over, leading to Patty's temporary departure. In her absence, Butler brought in Holly Beth Vincent of Holly and the Italians as a replacement, but the fit didn't work, and within weeks Patty soon returned. Around this time, Patty was personally invited by Alice Cooper to duet with him on the single, I Like Girls, featured on his album, Zipper Catches Skin, where she is credited for vocals and sarcasm. Album, Bruiseology, was released in 1983, but received a lukewarm response, reflecting the challenges faced during its creation. Shortly after, Patty left again, and the band fell apart, with Butler disbanding the Waitresses by the end of the year. Always seen as a smart, talented and captivating individual with a natural ability to connect with people, despite her potential, she struggled with self-esteem issues, which made it difficult for her to fully recognize or embrace her talents. While her career showed promise, her personal life was complicated by her relationships and the people she surrounded herself with. At times, she was drawn to unsupportive or manipulative individuals who hindered her growth. Patty's personality also changed significantly when she partied, often becoming a different person. In those moments, she could be combative and overly sensitive, which strained her relationships with fellow bandmates and made it harder for them to protect her from negative influences. Despite efforts from those around her to encourage and safeguard her, these personal struggles and external pressures ultimately contributed to the breakup of the Waitresses. Her untapped potential and the unresolved conflicts left behind a sense of what might have been, highlighting how difficult it was for Patty to navigate her personal and professional life. Patty retired from performing in the mid-1980s to work behind the scenes in the artists and repertoire division of the record label, MCA, then later spent the rest of her career as a talent scout for MCA Publishing. Tragically, on December 9, 1996, Patty passed away in New York at the age of 40 after a long battle with lung cancer, a condition linked to her years as a heavy smoker. She was laid to rest in Holy Cross Cemetery in Brook Park, a suburb of Cleveland, Ohio. 8 years later, her mother was buried beside her, and they now share a headstone. And there you have it. Though her time was brief, Patty Donahue left an unforgettable mark on music and culture. Her music and witty charm will be remembered always. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this. Take care and bye for now.